Shocking video shows an accused murderer lash out.
Nothing could have prepared Tara Pakanich for what she encountered in the early morning hours of 23 February 2022. This day will forever be etched into her memory after finding her son's severed head inside a green bucket covered with a shower towel at her home in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The killer, her son's 25-year-old married partner, Taylor Schabusiness, who claimed she got lazy and forgot to take the head along. In these chilling case of Taylor Schabusiness, one question haunts investigators. What sinister force could drive a seemingly ordinary person to commit such heinous acts? Was it madness, a hidden obsession, or something far more insidious? Join us as we delve into the twisted mind of Taylor Schabusiness and explore the shadows where sanity fades and malevolence thrives. Shad Thyrion was born in September 1997 to his parents, Tara Pakanich and Michael Thyrion. Shad had 2 sisters and 1 brother. He worked alongside his father and grandfather in the family business and had a passion for camping, games, and spending quality time with his loved ones. Shad was known to be a very kind and compassionate individual, always putting others before himself. Furthermore, he possessed a remarkable talent for wood carving. Unfortunately, not much is known about Shad Thyrion's past, as it seems his family wishes to keep his memory private. Turning our attention to Taylor Schabusiness, known by her birth name as Taylor Denise Coronado, was born on November 23, 1997 in Chicago. Her parents, Marla and Arturo Coronado, the family who lived in Chicago, reportedly moved to Wisconsin when Taylor was in her 4th grade. But sadly, Taylor's mother passed away in 2009 from cirrhosis and alcoholism when Taylor was 11 years old, leaving her with just her father and little brother AJ. Sadly, AJ died in a motorcycle accident in July 2022. Taylor attended public schools in Wisconsin until her senior year when she was expelled for fighting with another student. She then moved to Texas, where she completed school while living with her paternal grandparents. According to Taylor, she first received mental health care in 7th grade to address issues of attention, concentration, and behavior at school. During that time, she was prescribed medication to address symptoms believed to be related to ADD or ADHD. As she grew older, she was also prescribed a mood stabilizer, an antidepressant, and an antipsychotic until the age of 18, but gradually stopped taking the medications. In 2018, Taylor's father, Arturo Coronado, was taken into custody and charged with 2nd-degree sexual assault against a minor under the age of 16. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Fast forward to February 14, 2020, Taylor got married to her husband, Warren Shabo. They went to the extent of getting tattoos of each other's names on their necks and legally changed their names to Schabusiness. Taylor's legal troubles began after she married her husband, with her first felony arrest happening on June 21, 2020. A few months after tying the knot, Taylor was charged with battery against a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest. This occurred after she was discovered walking in the middle of the street in allegedly displaying bizarre behavior. Police had been called to the area for a woman seemingly under the influence of narcotics who was knocking on doors. During that incident, Taylor allegedly kicked at officers who tried to prevent her from walking into oncoming traffic. She was later found guilty after pleading no contest and was put on probation for 3 years, while also being ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation. However, only a few months later, Taylor's husband, Warren Shabo, was arrested on federal drug charges in November 2020. After being found with 46 grams of meth, he confessed to possession with intent to distribute and was subsequently sentenced to 28 months in prison. Warren was still in prison when they welcomed their first child, Mateo, in 2021, who is currently staying with his paternal grandparents in Texas. Taylor again faced charges for knowingly fleeing or eluding an officer, bail jumping for violating the conditions of her previous probation offense, possessing drug-related items, and obstructing an officer. Taylor decided to plead no contest to the charges of fleeing and obstructing an officer in January 2022, and was sentenced to 2 years of probation for eluding the police and 3 months in a local jail for bail jumping. However, that jail sentence was reduced to house arrest, and just 1 month later, Taylor murdered her partner. In addition to having a history of drug use and abuses, Shad and Taylor had been friends since middle school. On October 22, 2021, Shad Thyrion was also taken into custody by the authorities. He was arrested for disorderly conduct and resisting an officer. However, in the event leading up to the murder, Shad was picked up by Taylor on the evening of February 21, 2022, at around 9:30 p.m. from his mother's residence. Accompanied by a friend, Shad got some drug, and they all went to Taylor's apartment, where all three smoked marijuana while Taylor and Thyrion smoked methamphetamine, also referred as the bitch by Taylor. Later on, the friend left. Taylor then injected Thyrion and herself with trazodone, an antidepressant. At some point, they both returned to Tyrion's mother's home. Tara Pakanich and her boyfriend Steve Hendricks were away at the time, so they went down to the basement. They remained there for most of February 22nd. According to Taylor, Thyrion took out 2 silver metal chains, one that he had around his neck and one that he gave her. Taylor described the chains as similar to a dog's choke collar. Thyrion laid face down on the bed while Taylor was on top of him. She went crazy and began to choke him with the chain. Taylor claimed to have blacked out while choking Thyrion, but then in the process she regained consciousness and thought she was already this far, so she just kept on choking him and did not stop even though he was coughing up blood and his face turned purple. She just continued choking him until he stopped breathing, which took around 3 to 5 minutes. She then went on to sexually play with Tyrion's body for like 2 or 3 hours before she went upstairs and took knives from Tyrion's mom's kitchen, placed Tyrion's back on the bed while his head was hanging off and beheaded it over a bucket and a storage tote to contain the blood. She then dumped the blood down the basement shower drain before dismembering his entire body in that basement, putting his torso into a tote bag along with his heart and lungs. Some parts were placed in plastic shopping bags, a cardboard box, a plastic bucket, and a plastic storage container. So after she had finished chopping, she took some of Tyrion's dismembered parts and left. During a police interrogation, Taylor stated that the plan was for her to bring all the body parts with her, but she got lazy and only ended up putting the leg in the van and forgot the head. Thyrion's mother was awakened by a storm door slamming between 2:30 and 3 a.m. on Feb 23rd, and she heard a vehicle leaving. She got up, saw a light in the basement, and went down there, where she discovered a bucket with her son's head in it and called the cops.
County Public Safety, how may I help you?
Yes, I live in Officer at 829 Stony Brook.
And what's happening there again?
I have no clue what's happening. My girl swears that she found her severed head of her son in the basement.
Did you go down there?
In a bucket. I went down, I can't tell what the fuck. It's part of my language, I'm kind of a little freaked out.
Okay. Did she just wake up and say that?
Yeah.
How old's her son?
24, 25?
Has he been missing, or?
No, yeah, he was here yesterday with some chick, and then now all of a sudden nobody's here.
In response to the phone call just before 4 a.m., the officers at the scene were met with a horrifying sight. They discovered a head in a bucket, and the basement mattress was drenched in blood and bodily fluids. After making these findings, the officers secured the crime scene, called for backup, and initiated an investigation that eventually led to the arrest of Taylor Schabusiness. The first place they searched was her registered home address, where they found her vehicle parked outside. As police officers crunched through to investigate the van, Taylor walked out of her apartment with a visibly blood-stained sweatshirt and having red marks on her hands that were starting to harden. Taylor was temporarily detained by the police while they went to her house to search for additional evidence of the crime. At the same time, other officers were downstairs trying to open Taylor's vehicle. When they managed to access the van, they discovered one of Shad's legs in a cardboard box. Upon making this distressing discovery, Taylor was promptly arrested and taken to the police station for questioning and official procedures. During the interrogation, Taylor was quite frank in answering questions and asking questions. She revealed graphic and disturbing details of the night's events, including her describing what she did with Shad's body in a way that made it seem like she found the whole experience quite amusing. At one point, she even said, "I was sucking and cutting at the same time."
I was sucking and cutting at the same time. You ever love something so much that you kill it? Like, it happens to me. That's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much, and then I kill it. That's what happens to me.
She also mentioned that the police were going to have fun trying to find all of the organs. In the week leading up to the murder, Taylor also made chilling searches about Jeffrey Dahmer, such as Jeffrey Dahmer walking into court, Jeffrey Dahmer's butt, and the definition of cadavers. The police also found a selfie photo she took with Jeffrey Dahmer. After receiving all of this deeply unsettling information, Taylor was placed on a $2 million bond. She remained in custody while forensics and detectives gathered evidence for her trial. She was also ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation. The debate surrounding Taylor's mental condition caused a significant delay in the legal proceedings of this case. This delay was purposely planned by Taylor's defense team. After facing numerous setbacks, the judge finally agreed to schedule the trial for May 15, 2023. However, on February 14, 2023, Taylor physically assaulted her lawyer, Quinn Jolly, during a pretrial hearing in court. This incident occurred when Judge Thomas Walsh made the decision to postpone Taylor's trial from March 6th to May 15th. Jolly had requested additional time for a defense expert to review the case and present testimony. Nevertheless, Taylor disagreed with this decision and held her lawyer accountable for the trial delay. Due to the assault, Jolly decided to withdraw from the case and was replaced by another attorney. The trial was finally set in July 2023 in the Brown County Circuit Court before Judge Thomas Walsh.
First verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
Taylor was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. Taylor pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, claiming that she had a mental breakdown or disorder at the time of the murder. Her defense attorneys argued that she suffered from hallucinations, psychosis, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and that she was under the influence of drugs. They also challenged the validity of her confession and the sexual assault charge, saying that the victim was dead and his penis had been dismembered. The prosecution countered that Taylor was competent and responsible for her actions, and that she acted with callous brutality and depravity. They presented evidence from the crime scene, the autopsy, the police interviews, and the forensic experts to show that Taylor knew what she was doing and intended to kill and mutilate Shad Thyrion. The trial lasted for several days, during which the jury heard graphic and disturbing testimony and saw gruesome photos and videos of the crime. The jury also heard from the victim's family, who described Shad Thyrion as a kind, loving, and generous person who was betrayed and violated by Taylor.
Taylor, I just wanted to say that I forgive you for what you've done to my son.
Shad's father, Michael Thyrion, forgave Taylor for taking his son's life. On July 26, 2023, the jury took less than 2 hours to deliberate and reached a guilty verdict on all charges against Taylor. The next day, the jury unanimously concluded that Taylor did not suffer from a mental illness or defect at the time of the murder, dismissing her insanity defense. On September 26, 2023, the judge sentenced Taylor to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He also criticized Taylor's father, who blamed the system for failing his daughter by stating that people are responsible for their actions, regardless of their background. Judge Walsh instructed Taylor to stay away from the victim's family and suggested that she receive mental health and drug treatment while in prison. Taylor showed no reaction and was escorted out of the courtroom. On the other hand, Warren is expected to be released from prison this year in 2024. Additionally, Warren Chabot made a Facebook post defending Taylor, stating that he and their son will always love her, regardless of what happened.